Hello, everyone, and welcome to your midweek boost of motivation, education, and inspiration. I am your host, Nancy Matthews, one of the founders of Women's Prosperity Network, and we've been bringing you this opportunity to come together, get filled up and fired up every single Wednesday since 2009. And today I have the privilege of introducing you because I'm guessing our community is not really familiar with my guest today. So I get the privilege of introducing you to my friend Vik, whose last name is Shivdasani. How'd I do?
Perfect.
Yes, okay, good. Names are important, so I do my best to bring that in. And Vik is an emotional freedom coach and inspirational speaker, best-selling author, and the creator of the Ultimate Sedona Retreat. And we're going to dive into um, rolling with it, allowing life to show you the way. And I'll tell you, sometimes I think I know a lot better. And when things are going wacky and awry, I'm like, okay, I can handle this. So wouldn't it be nice to just be able to roll with it? So we're going to dive into that conversation with Vik in a moment or two. Before we kick off, let me mention a couple of updates we have in the wonderful world of Women's Prosperity Network. And I'll start with Thursday. Trish Carr is hosting a special training, and it's a free online workshop that you can join us for. And the title of it is Turn Your Mouth into Money. I'm just going to leave it at that. You can make up whatever you think it means, but turning your mouth into money. And Trish is going to show you how to grow your impact and your income by using the power of words and language. So make sure you go to our website and check that out. We've also got a sales and marketing clinic coming up. We've got networking with a twist and many, many ways for us to continue to collaborate and grow together. Today, we're going to kick off with Vik and rolling with it. Let me share a little bit about Vik. He is, as I mentioned, an emotional freedom coach, inspirational speaker, best-selling author, and the creator of the Ultimate Sedona Retreat, which is happening in November. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. In 2006, at age 22, after a night of college partying, Vic had an accident and fell off of a third floor balcony. This horrific accident, excuse me, and the never-ending challenges that followed sparked a seeker's journey to understand what it takes to become the best versions of ourselves despite our circumstances. Vic, as you will soon experience, captivates audiences with his humorous take on life, and he shares powerful, actionable takeaways to live happier and more present lives. His mission is to provide the tools that enable people to connect more deeply with themselves, more deeply with those around them, and ultimately connect to the joy in life. And you can jot down his website right now. I know you want to go there. And it's Rolling with Vik, V-I-K, rollingwithvik.com. Welcome, my friend. I'm so grateful that you're with us today.
I love that introduction, and thank you for having me.
Yeah. So let's jump right in. In 2006, you experienced a horrific accident, and you've found a way to use that experience to transform your life and now help others do the same. Can you share a little bit on the unfolding of this process for you? Because, at 22, here we are 22 years later. No, is that what it is? No, 18 years later
18
or
years
something.
later.
16.
No, 18, you're right.
Um, Yep. So how did this process happen for you to be able to take this horrific experience and now, share with others how they can roll with it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it didn't happen overnight. Really the first 4 years or something, I was really resistant. I didn't want to live this life. Why did this happen to me? And it was a struggle. I was in my parents' house. I was trying to figure out how to live life in a wheelchair, and I didn't want to do it. And so it really took after those 4 years, we went to India, and I've been lucky enough to grow up and be introduced to spiritual gurus from India, and my dad's cousin actually is a guru that has a lot of following. So at that point, I was in a very really conflicted time. I spent those 3, 4 years traveling around the world to try out all sorts of alternative treatments that to try to help heal me, and nothing really worked. And I went to this lady, this guru, and I told her, I was like, I don't know what to do. Nothing is working. I've tried all this stuff. I've been going through this. And she told me the most simplest thing that changed my life forever. She said, if this is your life right now, how are you going to live it? And that
Mm.
changed everything for me because that wasn't even a thought in my mind. It wasn't even it wasn't even entertaining the possibility of having to live like this. And so
Right.
once that,
You were looking for, so for in all of that process, you were looking for a way to change things to get back to how it used to be,
correct,
right?
exactly. Exactly. And so when she said that, it almost like created some relief in me to actually really now move forward in my life. And I started thinking about all these ideas, things I wanted to do. And shortly after that, in 2010, I moved out of my parents' house. I went to Houston. I went back to school. I started playing wheelchair basketball. And as I was like in this space, I started seeing a lot of different synchronicities. Like I was driving down the road, and my intention was to play wheelchair basketball going to Houston, and because it's a bigger city that has these opportunities. And so I was driving down the highway, and I see the first week I got to Houston, and I see this billboard that said Abilities Expo, and it was this big expo I was happening in Houston for the first time ever, the weekend after I moved there. And, like, are you kidding me? And
You can't make this stuff up. Right.
you can't make it up. And then so yeah, I got connected to this big expo that had everything for disabilities, from people in wheelchairs to hearing, deaf equipment, all sorts of stuff. And there was wheelchair sports, so I got connected to that. Um, there was like another situation where I was like ready to get a job, and I was specifically thinking that I wanted to get a job in the apartments that I lived at. And literally, like, as I was thinking about this, I think a week later or something, I got an email saying that there was an opening at the apartment complex. And I went to apply for it. The director already knew me, and I got this job literally giving tours to people from a wheelchair
Wow.
at this apartment complex. So it was like things like that that started happening that really made me like really question what our influence was on life and why things happen. And my mom was really into got really into Wayne Dyer, Dr. Wayne Dyer. Um,
Mhm.
and in September 2011, we went to New York to a Hay House conference to see Wayne Dyer speak. And literally on the way over there, my mom just says over and over again, I'm going to meet Wayne Dyer. I'm going to meet Wayne Dyer. I'm going to meet Wayne Dyer. And I was like, what? And her sisters were with us, and they go, are you going to meet Wayne Dyer? What are you going to wear when you meet him? What are you going to say? And they're really like painting this picture. And I thought that they were crazy. Like, I was not like, I had been experiencing some things, but I was not in this world to that degree.
And you're going, yeah, mom, yeah, mom.
Yeah, like, all right, like you're gonna meet this dude. We're gonna go through an event with 3,000 people, and you're just gonna meet them. Okay. And we get to the venue, and she goes to the bathroom to touch up her makeup, and then she comes out, and Wayne Dyer's standing right there. And she goes to him and she's crying. My son had this accident. We've been going through all this. And she's like, your work has really helped me. And he was like, oh, yeah. And he hugged her and he said, your son's here. He's like, where are you sitting? He's like, okay, well, I got to get on stage. And he gets on stage and he's the first speaker. And he starts the entire conference saying, so I just met this lady and her son had this accident. And he tells my entire story on stage. And I'm like blown away. Like, this was my first moment just of like really awakening to this world. And he points at me and he just said, I really want you to pay attention to everything I have to say today. And it was all about mastering the art of manifestation. And yeah, and from there, I just got on this journey, studied with a lot of people, and I was really doing it for myself initially. And then in 2019, I became a coach to help others.
Yeah.
So
I'm getting goosebumps as I listen to this because I can just imagine how you were feeling and what you were thinking on the car ride over. And primarily because I have children that when I'm doing my manifestation and all of that, they're like, okay, mom, okay, mom. But when they need something, they call me, right? Like, can you use your Jedi powers, mom? And
so
it sounds like the transformation you experienced from the car ride there to sitting in the chair, or when your mom came back from the restroom, like another defining moment for you. Had to be, right? It's like, okay, game on, let's play.
right.
Um, so I'm curious about something. So you have the accident, and for years you're trying to get back to normal, right? You're trying to, reclaim that life. It sounded to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, there came a point of acceptance and or surrender, and I don't mean giving up surrender. I mean surrendering to, okay, this is how do I deal with this, right? When you're working with people today who are going through challenges, how do you guide them in distinguishing between allowing and surrendering and that never give up, never quit piece? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Absolutely. So, most of the time when we're dealing with challenges and situations, we're resisting. We're questioning why it happened, where we don't really want to deal with it. And so my first step in any situation in helping people is always acceptance. It's acceptance of where you are right now without the need to change it, without the need to feel better. It's a big one because we're resisting. We don't realize we're resisting, but we're trying to change our state. We're trying to feel better instead of just being with what is happening and being okay with it. Once you've truly just accepted, okay, this is my life. I'm just going to be okay with it. I don't love it, but I'm just going to be okay with this. Now you're in a space where it's like where you can actually make changes and move forward and really be present, right? And then so I think that is like the biggest piece for all of us to, no matter what is happening, if we're rolling with life, right? If we're rolling with it,
Right.
it really is about accepting every moment as it happens and going from there.
Because we know the phrase, that which we resist persists. So if I'm not acknowledging that I'm feeling, angry, mad, sad, ticked off, whatever those emotions are, they're still going to be there. But it's actually by acknowledging them and saying, okay, you're here, kind of like, all right, you're feeling this. Now what are you going to do? You want to stay feeling that? You want to work through it? You want to acknowledge where it came from and what parts of you need to be addressed? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not always easy to make that shift.
No, I mean, there's a lot of cases where, I mean, you think you want to accept, you think you want to heal, you think you want to go there, but there's certain things about you that you're not ready to look at. And so, it really does take this deep sense of like I'm willing to change. I'm willing to be different than I was. And this is not inner work is not an easy thing. There's a lot of people that live their lives and don't really pay attention to this part or this healing part and just continue with the way life is and going with the days and the redundancy of things. And that's okay if that's where you want to be because you don't want to open up Pandora's box. But at the end of the day, this is really where true fulfillment happens.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do believe, yeah, I know that the people that are in our community, you're here, you're watching this show, you're listening in, however you're accessing it, because you appreciate that continuous growth and unfoldment that occurs when we do the inner work, which is not always easy, right? It's, sometimes we don't want to look at it. Tell us, some of the other, strategies or techniques that you use, whether for yourself or now with the clients that you're serving to, get through some pretty difficult times. And, we all know that the world appears to be very unstable right now. And I use that language specifically because, we see things as we are, not they are. So speak to that a little bit. I don't know. There's something there for you to share.
Absolutely, yeah. So I like to simplify the inner work process. Like, some people have stages of healing, or we go into, awakening and enlightenment and all these things. But I really like to simplify it. It's like it's this process that we do over and over and over again. And it's the first step is acceptance, as I just spoke about. Once you've accepted, you get to identifying fears, really realizing what are the thoughts and feelings that are coming up in you around this challenge, around this emotion that you're dealing with. Once you've identified the fears, now we can actually release the emotions. And I to teach people to really connect to the body, to be able to
Mm,
locate where these emotions are in the body. And when you really develop that skill and can find these energies in the body, there's multiple techniques that we work with to really clear it in real time. And it releases things on pretty great, strong, potent levels, I'll say. Um, but yeah, releasing emotions can be a bunch of different things: meditation, breath work, energy work, you know, journaling, whatever it is that really helps you bring those emotions up and clear that. And then so after you release the emotion, every time you release an emotion, you come into a space of clarity, more connection to your intuition. That clarity could be nothing, whatever you were afraid about or worried about or whatever. Once you clear the emotion, you might just be neutral. And that's your intuition basically saying there's no issue here. Or you'll get an intuitive step to act on that's usually going to be uncomfortable. It's usually causing you some level of growth, and then once you have that, the last piece is really creating a vision and feeling those elevated emotions you want to feel in your life. So I take people through that 5-step process, and it's really what I say inner work is over and over and over again.
excellent, excellent. So step one, acceptance. Step two, identify the fears.
Mhm.
Step three, release the emotions.
That's
Step four, clarity.
correct.
And then step five is some inspired action that'll come through. Is that correct?
Mhm. Right.
Okay, good. I got them. Now, are these in your book? Tell us a little bit about the book.
Yes, they are in my book. Let's see if you can see this well here. Got a little background that makes it a little weird, but it's called Rolling with It: Lessons Learned While Sitting Down. Um,
Wait, don't
yeah,
don't don't blow past that. The
yeah.
name of his book is Rolling with It: Lessons Learned While Sitting Down.
Right.
Phenomenal.
Thank you. Thank you. And so the book really goes over, it's really a chronicle of my journey from the point that I had my accident to everything I went through to I really am like really real and raw and vulnerable in this. And I tell people the specifics of what it's like to be a paraplegic and the different challenges that I went through and the mindsets I had to push through to get to these different places and all the different people I've met. Not only Wayne Dyer, but people like Anita Murjani, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Donnie Epstein, like really strong, powerful people in this transformational space. And I learned from them and went to a bunch of workshops, and I talk about all my experiences in there that eventually led me to helping others as a coach. So all of that is in the book.
Excellent, excellent. So make sure you go to Rolling with Vic, and that's with a K, rollingwithvic.com, and um, get his book. And he's got a free meditation on his website. We'll talk about that a little bit more. I know that you have a retreat coming up. We mentioned it earlier. Tell us a little bit about this retreat in Sedona, which is still on my list to get to. I've never been there yet. So maybe.
Well, maybe we can get you in November, but yeah. So this retreat, honestly, I call this title of this talk, "Rolling with It," allowing life. I forget what the subtitle I said, but it was like allowing life to happen or letting life lead you. And that's what this retreat really was for me because uh, talking about synchronicities in this journey, I'll tell you all a little bit of just like what brought me to Sedona because I'm from McAllen, Texas, deep South Texas by the border. And in 2020, while everything was kind of going on, uh, in August 2020, I went to Mount Shasta for this metaphysical event, and met a lot of like healers and energy workers and all these things. And there was one dude that I met that I kept bumping into like throughout the town. Like we'd leave the
Mhm.
venue, go to lunch, and I would bump this guy's walking his dog, and I'm like, what? And I just kept seeing it. This guy's name is Ryan, and he lives in Sedona. And we just connected and shared information. And after that, I went home. And so that was August 2020. October, I get this download, this thought. It said, "You've never been to Sedona. Go check out Sedona." And I was like, who said that? Like I was just like, where did I?
What?
And
What?
I just completely second guessed it. And then so I didn't do anything about it. And then a month later, this other lady, this channeler lady that I met in Mount Shasta, I'm just having a conversation with her. And out of nowhere, she goes, "Are you thinking about going to Sedona? Because I'm getting if you're thinking about going, that you should go." And I was like, whoa. I was like, I didn't tell anybody that. I was like, okay, universe. And I was like, all right, universe, you want me to go to Sedona? Send me one more sign. Okay. And
Mm.
1 week later, my friend hits me up, unrelated to anything, and he just messages me, "Hey man, I just came back from Sedona. You would love Sedona." So I'm like, okay, here we go. So in December 2020, I planned a trip for 4 days. I mean, if you've ever been to Sedona, it's like going to a national park. I've never seen a town that's like around these red rock mountains the way they are. I was so blown away by the place. It's such a spiritual community. It's an energy vortex. There's so many amazing things about Sedona. I was blown away. I met and then I met this guy Ryan over there. And the last day I was there, I went to pick him up for lunch, and he gets in my car, and he's just like fuming mad. And the guy that was living in the bottom floor of his townhouse wasn't paying bills, and literally he had to kick him out in that moment. So he was super upset. He gets in the car, he's telling me about the situation. I'm like, we have an open spot. It's really hard to find places to live in Sedona, and let alone like something that's wheelchair accessible.
I
So
was thinking that as well. Yeah.
so I went home after that, and all I could think was, I gotta go to Sedona, I gotta go to Sedona, I gotta go to Sedona. I call up Brian. I was like, "Yo, tell me about this spot." And he's like, "Well, it's on the bottom floor of my townhouse. It's got a big bathroom. It's got a closet with a low-hanging rack." And I'm like, "Oh my God." So literally 3 weeks later, I moved there, right? I ended up living there for a year or just under a year. And then I went back to Texas for a year and a half. And then this last June 2023, I moved back there from another series of crazy events, and was there for another year, and now I'm in Austin. But the point is that these 2 years that I spent in Sedona was really the creation. I didn't really realize I was thinking about this after the first year I was there, but this last year I lived there was really like creation of this retreat. I didn't realize I had to live there to create it, but that's what happened. And I call it the ultimate Sedona retreat that really incorporates not only deep healing transformational activities, but it's coupled with
Mhm.
the best tourist activities that Sedona has to offer. I've really collaborated with a lot of people that live in Sedona that are experts in Sedona. We have a UFO tour with a UFO tour guide. This guy literally, he claims to have been abducted. I don't know, but he literally meditates beforehand and calls onto the UFOs. He has military grade goggles, night vision goggles, and we go out at night and we go out and I've done it 3 times. I've seen phenomenal things. He'll literally even connect with them and tell them to power up or vanish, and you'll see some of them do that. It's crazy. I have an astrologist who's our stargazing tour guide, who like is literally like she talks about the different constellations. We go out and she, pieces together the stars. And a really interesting fact that happened, and the first time I did this retreat was in May, she was talking about the Gemini constellation. And literally, as she's talking about the Gemini constellation, there's like some orb light in the sky, literally split up into two, and it flew right through Gemini as she was talking about it. Like the crazy things, crazy things. I have a tour guide, a vortex tour guide who takes you to the most powerful vortex in Sedona around Bell Rock. And he plays Native American flute. He's a sound healer. He takes you up there. You do a whole meditation stuff like at the most powerful vortex site. People literally were releasing pain from their bodies on this thing. I have a yoga instructor. I have an ecstatic dance guide. I have a scenic Sedona tour that takes you to all the sacred sites and hotspots in the area.
Wow.
What also, I mean, there's breath work, energy work, there's all sorts of stuff in this 4-day event. And it literally is the ultimate Sedona retreat.
It totally sounds like for if you ever wanted to go to Sedona, or if you've been there and didn't get to do all this stuff, you've got it all. It is
Oh,
the ultimate Sedona retreat. So when is it, and how do we learn more about it and sign up for it?
yeah, so it's November 7th to 11th. It's you can go to the ultimatesedonaretreat.com. I have all the activities and things listed there. And yeah, so the cost for the
Wow.
retreat is it's 1555. We also have a retreat hotel, which I really worked on to get a good rate. Because Sedona hotels can be like super expensive, but we got a rate of like 189 a night here. And so yeah, so with the basically the you can put a $500 deposit right now. If you want to reserve your spot, there's a way to do that on the website. And yeah, if you've never been to Sedona, or if you feel called the call to Sedona, if you've been to Sedona and want to then get to experience everything, this is literally everything you need to experience.
Amazing, amazing. And what a great rate you got for the hotel. Like when I went to Phoenix, I paid like 400 a night. Like I'm just thinking, like, how did you manage that? You are a manifester. You are a
Yeah,
manifester.
it's literally like 100 some dollars like off the original rate. So
Phenomenal.
we have all the pieces here.
Yeah, phenomenal. So we're at the halfway point, and I want to give our listeners an opportunity to chat with you for a moment or two. And let me tell the audience what you want to do. Oh, tell them about this meditation that you put together also before we open up for Q&A.
Yeah, so you can get a free meditation from my website. It's just you can if you go to rollerwithvic.com, there's a link, or you can go to rollerwithvic.com/free meditation. It's a free gratitude meditation. So I've
Mhm.
studied with Dr. Joe Dispenza and a bunch of other people, and I've thrown in a lot of different meditation techniques in this meditation. So the first 10 minutes or so is really getting you into a state, practicing these mental exercises of sensing the entire space of your body, sensing the entire space around you, and really kind of building up your field and presence. And then I take you into a space where you're connecting to a light, then connecting to the feeling of gratitude, things that you're grateful for your life, things that you're grateful that are not happened yet. And it's a pretty powerful meditation. Pretty much, it's about an 18-minute meditation. So definitely try
Fantastic.
that out. You'll get a good taste of what I do from that.
Beautiful, beautiful. So go to rollingwithvik.com, and you can get the meditation. You'll have a link to be able to get his book. And also for information on the retreat, go to the ultimate Sedona Retreat.com. And I'll just say this for everybody listening in. Maybe you're going through the best time of your life. Maybe you're going through the most challenging time of your life. What I am picking up from being in Vik's presence today and in this conversation is that we always have the opportunity to go higher and be higher because we're still in this game. And if we choose to stay in this game, and why wouldn't we want to have the best experience possible? And that's what Vik guides people to. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, so good, so good. All right, let's open up for some questions. So if you're with us on Facebook and you have a question or a comment, you can put it in the thread there and I'll bring it to Vik. If you are with us on Zoom, you can raise your hand. If you're with us on the phone, just unmute yourself and let's talk with Vik a little bit. And I see Laura Barker's in the house. She had a question about the link. Laura, you want to unmute yourself? Thank you, love.
Yes, Vik, this is so good. I don't even remember what question I put. Oh, yeah, the link. So I clicked on the link for the retreat and I got a suspicious site warning. So I'm going to click it anyway because I think it did it because it's taking me to Facebook. Is that right?
I don't know.
No, it should take you to a website, but that's the first time I've heard that.
Yeah, I didn't get that either. And I just went there. So I just put the link in the chat again. So try it again. The ultimate Sedona Retreat.com. It takes me directly to the website.
Okay, I'll get it then. No problem. Hey,
all right. And
I'm talking.
You both love Joe, Dr. Joe.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Dr. Joe changed my life. Went to one of his week-long retreats. Oh my word, right? And your experience, what I would have given to go to India and all the places you got to go. So thank you for sharing all of that with us in the book. I have not been what you've been through, but I have sat in a wheelchair wondering what happened. How did this happen to me? And I went through the same thought process, and I ultimately came to I never used the words roll with it. I just said, I'm in this moment right now. How am I going to behave? Right now, I get to choose. So thank you for everything. You are spreading the light and lifting people up. I don't really have a question. Just had to share that.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And yeah, Dr. Joe workshops are super powerful. I think I've been to 11 of them now.
Wow.
They've been super powerful. And really, the last one I went to was in 2022, and things have kind of evolved since then. But Dr. Joe's been a big part of my healing and the evolution of what I'm doing with people now.
Well, I've got some catching up to do. I've only been to 2. So we'll get there.
Awesome. Thanks for being with us, Laura. And thank you for being the light and the strength and the love that you bring. I know you've been through quite a lot as well, and your spirit always inspires me. Awesome. Oh, all right, let's check in. Who else would like to share a question, comment, or aha before we wrap up our call today with Vik? Nellie Williams.
I live in Phoenix, Arizona, which is just down the road, so to speak, from Sedona. It's an awesome place. It's a small little town. It's going to be busy with crowded streets, but it will be so well worth the trip. And Vik, it looks like a beautiful retreat that you have planned. So, and November, when things are getting cold in other parts of the country, it's just beautiful here in Arizona. So I want to encourage you all to come and roll with Vik.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for sharing that for sure. Sedona, I mean, yeah, Phoenix, you're down the road for sure. And
yeah,
Sedona's a magical place. It's special,
It is. Now, Do you get to go there much, Nellie?
I don't. I could if I wanted to. I went to school in Flagstaff, which is north of Sedona.
Mhm.
We have a big state here. We're all spread out and available by car, but I'm pretty much office bound right now.
Getting all
Yeah,
the stuff done.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say that whole stretch there from Phoenix to Flagstaff is such an interesting stretch of area because you're like Phoenix, I think, is like at a 1,000 feet elevation level, and then Sedona's like 4,000, and then Flagstaff is 7,000, and like I think what Sedona's 2 hours away from Sedona. I mean, sorry, Sedona's 2 hours away from Phoenix, and about 45 minutes Sedona to Flagstaff. So it's like if you just drive 2 to 3 hours down that road, you're going to completely different areas, completely different climates. An interesting stretch of land right there.
And all awesomely beautiful.
Absolutely. It's
Thank
gorgeous.
you. We'll have a wonderful, wonderful event.
Thank you. And then another point though, it's in November 7th to 11th. It's actually during the 11/11 manifestation portal. So it's gonna add
Beautiful.
that as a potent time as well.
Powerful.
So good. Awesome. Thank you, Nellie, for sharing and for being with us today. I
You're
appreciate you. Awesome. I see Deborah Morrison on the line. Deborah, your line is open.
Well, thank you. And thank you, Vik. It's a pleasure to meet you even online. And I will definitely be looking into this retreat, which sounds nothing short of amazing. I've been to Sedona a number of times. And if anybody wants to add a day or something on, I've done hot air ballooning twice at sunrise and also at sunset. And often, just a little tip, often when you go, there's two balloons. And most people are attracted to the brightly colored balloon because almost always, well, the 2 times I've gone, there's a really bright one, like brand new. And then there's one that's more faded. And like, who doesn't want to go towards the bright? But I'm a photographer. So I bolted towards the dull one and I have beautiful pictures of the brilliant one. Anyway, it's absolutely magical. The vortexes will do things in your body and in your spirit that Vik is talking about. I completely align with it, believe in it, and really hope that the dates work for me. Thank you.
Well, we hope to see you
Awesome.
there for sure. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah,
And
super
Exactly.
fun.
if you do want to do other activities like hot air ballooning and stuff, I got the hotel rate for 2 days before after the retreat as well. So if you wanted to take advantage
Oh,
of the
you're the
rates,
best.
got you.
Good,
I
good, good.
got you guys. So you want to take advantage of that rate, you have those possibilities.
You got a little wiggle room on
Thanks.
both sides.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Awesome.
I suspected you had that under control. And I am just filled with admiration for you and your story and your verve. This matter of choice is not to be underestimated. And when you're in the vortex, if you will, that your mom was in, the belief that she was going to meet Wayne Dyer, nothing is impossible. And I applaud you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you, Deborah, for sharing and being with us today and reminding all of us that that's where our power truly lies, in the choice. And Laura Barker said this to echo what Vik was saying. Here I am now. How do I want to experience it right now? Do I want to experience it absolutely miserable, or do I want to work through
Yep.
my misery to get to something else?
Yep.
Yeah, we get to choose. Powerful stuff, my friend. Thank you, Deborah. And maybe we'll be together in Sedona. I don't know.
Oh, I would love that. Love that.
Wouldn't that be wild? That would be so cool. All right.
Super
Beautiful,
cool.
beautiful. Yeah. And for everybody here, there's 2 websites you want to jot down and or go to right now. The first one is Rolling with Vik, V-I-K, rollingwithvik.com. And you'll see in the menu bar, free meditation right there. So grab that and start to connect with the beautiful spirit, calm, and You also bring this sense of fun to things. Like
I do try to bring fun for sure.
that is so good. That is so good. And bring it into your spirit. Bring that meditation into your spirit, and then also go to the ultimate Sedona Retreat.com and check that out. November 7 to 11. He made it at an amazingly good price for you. Got a great deal at the hotel. So all we got to do is get to Sedona, is what it sounds like. And it'll be truly an amazing experience. And just in case the dates don't work out, I'm hoping you'll do this again.
Yeah, so my first one was in May, and then I'm doing this one now, and my plan is to do it twice a year. Yeah, so we're just building up and continuing. It's probably the cheapest it's
It's going
as
to be, yeah,
it's gonna be as we kind of move along. So I would take
yeah.
advantage of it if you can. But yeah, we do plan on doing this twice a year.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I am grateful that you made time, woke up early to be with us today. I want to say thanks to all of our viewers and our callers in today for joining us. Keep rolling with it. Vik, any final words you want to share with the audience before we wrap up today?
You have the power, you know. You haven't there. I understand challenges, and I've been through a lot of them, and I've just really learned, and it's true time and time again with people I work with, that the more you can do the inner work, choose the direction you want to go, you can achieve anything. So always know, no matter what situation you're in, it's about acceptance and moving forward.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And if you're sitting in the middle of something right now, or something comes up next week or next month, reach out to Vik. As you can see, he is here to guide you and support you to um, rolling with it and experiencing the unfoldment of the magic that happens, because that's what you shared. Those synchronicity is the magic that happens when we surrender and allow our life to unfold. So thank you for being such an amazing example of that.
Of course. Thanks for having me, and appreciate the role I get to play, you know.
Yep, it's a beautiful thing. All right, my friends. Thank you for joining us. Vik, thank you for joining us. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks on the cruise that we'll both be on. So if anybody wants to go on a cruise, reach out to me, because me and Vik are going to be there. And Laura Barker is going to be there, and lots of cool people. So beautiful ways for us to connect and continue to grow higher and higher together. Get out there, my friends, be the one. And remember to make this a wow day. We want to give every day that wow feeling. Have a good one. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye, Vik.